Welcome to Moments That Matter with the Compassion Project. I am here with Rachel Fuertes. So excited, Rachel, and honored that you are going to share a moment that matters to you. So, a little bit about Rachel. She's been married 32 wonderful years to her husband, Edgar, right?
Yes.
She has 6 beautiful children and a beautiful granddaughter also. Rachel lives in San Miguel de Allende, Mexico. Did I say that right? On Rancho Feliz,
Uh-huh.
which is Happy Ranch.
That's right. That is.
Love it. Who wouldn't want to live on a happy ranch? Rachel is just the most beautiful person. We met earlier through the Compassion Project. She has a heart of gold. I absolutely adore you, Rachel. She is passionate about helping others physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually through her Zumba. She is also passionate about volunteering, particularly following her mother's footsteps of founding and running the Children of the Andes Humanitarian Charitable Foundation in Ecuador. Amazing. So, yeah, I just want to thank you for joining because this is a new thing I'm doing for the Compassion Project. I really, really believe in the power of moments in our life that sometimes we don't share them, but we all go through difficult times. We all go through times where we have all this joy or struggles, and that's where we learn. And I just think it's important to share so other people can learn from our stories. So welcome, and I'm excited. So Rachel, what is a moment in your life that mattered to you? A moment that shifted the way you thought that you wouldn't be who you are today without it. What is your moment? I'm sure you have many, but
Oh, yes. That was the hard part, was to whittle it down to just one that I wanted to share. But first of all, thank you so much for inviting me to your new project, which is within the Compassion Project, Moments That Matter. I think it's awesome. And since I've met you, I've emulated you in so many ways on my Facebook page, and it's given me such an inspiration to do what I do with the Latin world, with women in the Latin world. So thank you very much for that.
yeah.
I was tossing and turning all night, very nervous, but I'm nervous excited is what it is. And when we couldn't get on right now and we had technical difficulty, I was like, oh no, she's already, this has got to happen now. So I'm glad that we got it to figure it out. Okay,
Yeah.
so that matters. I'll paint you a picture. 5 years ago, 2017, in a very dreary and dark winter in Utah, that was riddled with fog, a pollution fog that was really, really thick that we hadn't had in many years. And so outside during the day, we never saw the sun for like a month. It was horrible. And I was going through depression, anxiety, and panic attacks for the first time in my life, being only, let's see, I'm 52 now, so take 5 from that.
47.
47, that's right.
Wow. Yeah.
Never in my life, with my 6 children and my almost 30 years of marriage, had never ever experienced that. I had always been sympathetic to other people. I'd always thought, that's so sad, but it's got to be just mental, right? Like, they should be able to just get over it if they want to. And
Yeah.
understand what was happening to me. I had things during the year that had happened to me that were very hard. And when I went to the doctor under the pretense of a physical, and then asked her, what's wrong with me? And she said, well, have you had any loss in the last year? Have you had any traumatic experiences? Are you stressed? And of course, most of us that think we have it together go, I'm not stressed. I'm good. I can handle it. But then she's like, no, think what has happened to you in the year. So we got down to it. It had been 6 months since I'd had a knee injury that had not allowed me to do any exercise. So Zumba was out the door, which I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
My mother had been with me for 3 years, and I was her caretaker 24/7 for 3 years, and she had Alzheimer's. And we didn't know it. And then when we took her to the doctor and they said she's in stage 7 of 10 stages, everything just went out the window. I couldn't take it anymore. And I had to make a very, very hard decision to put her into a care facility for the elderly so that she could have better care. I just couldn't do it anymore with her. And so, a family decision, we decided to do that, but it made me feel guilty. It made me feel really guilty that I couldn't take care of my mother until the end. And because she'd made me promise as a little girl that I would never do that. But who knew she was going to get Alzheimer's, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So those things had happened. And then most of my children had flown from the nest. And I was left with, what do I do now with my life? And I thought I had it all together, but I didn't. And so I also had claustrophobia since I was a little child. I had some traumas with that. And so I would go outside feeling very like the chickens are too close in my house and there's no sun and it's very dark and it's very cold and I just couldn't get any reprieve. And then I got sick. I got the flu. I had taken NyQuil because I was at the point, Jane, where, and all those that are listening, hopefully they can identify. And I'm telling this because I related to your story that you spoke about when
Yeah.
you came on and gave the first moments that matter. And also the lady that spoke a week ago, I can't remember her name.
Carrie.
That
Yeah.
also spoke about leaving her antidepressants because she dealt with depression. And so that's why it helped me bring it down to this moment that I'm going to give you right now. I didn't want to sleep because I might wake up claustrophobic and anxiety and have a panic attack. I didn't want to be awake because I thought I was a burden on my children and my family, being all sad and drawn and no energy. I didn't want to eat. I was losing weight. I was sleepy. I was depressed, but I didn't know it, right?
It is similar to mine. Oh my goodness.
You're going to hear this. And it's going to be even more similar. And it was almost Christmas. It was like a week before Christmas. It was in December. And I had a daughter, her name is Samantha, who was living right here in San Miguel de Allende. She'd only been married for a few years, but I hadn't seen her. And she had said she was trying to come for Christmas. And then later on said, Mom, it's not going to work out. We don't have the money. We don't have the time. I'd taken NyQuil and I'm halfway asleep. And I hear her voice in my home. And I thought, I'm dreaming, right? I'm dreaming. Now, out of my 4 daughters, she's the one who most looks like me, acts like me, and she's my mini me. And all of a sudden, I had someone touch me on the shoulder and she said, Mama, I'm here.
Aww.
And I turned over and again, I thought I was still dreaming, right? And it took a few minutes, but you know, when you take NyQuil, you're a little bit out of it, right? And I had the flu. I was getting better, but I was still taking the medicine to help me sleep. And she said, Mom, I'm here. We wanted to surprise you. My brother went and picked me up in Las Vegas and we're here for 2 weeks and I love you and you've got to get over this. Because I had told her that I was not feeling well and kind of told her what was going on, kind of like you did with your daughter.
Yeah.
And she had to let me go back to sleep because I just couldn't get up. I was too out of it.
Wow.
But she came in and she said, all right, Mom, let's go to Salt Lake because we lived like half an hour away. Let's go to the mall. Let's do this. Let's go see Santa. You know, she's like 20 something.
Yeah.
I said, Samantha, I really don't feel like it. Can we just stay home? No, Mother, you're going to get up. You're going to get ready. You're going to look pretty. I'm going to help you. She did my hair. She did my makeup.
Aww.
And she took me to the mall with her other sisters. And of course, I still feel like I have like a NyQuil hangover, you know, but within a few days, and then we had conversation. She said, Mom, I came to get you out of this and you're going to get out of this because this is not who you are. And so I had to make a decision. I had to make a decision, Jane. I had to think, am I going to give up or am I going to stand and fight? And my family was not going to let me give up. They told me I was not a burden, that I should not be thinking about the things that I was thinking, and that there were ways to get over this, that if I didn't want to take antidepressants, there's therapy, there's natural remedies, there's all sorts of things, you know. Yeah. And I don't know how many days it took after she came, 2 or 3 days, 4 days. She was there for 2 weeks with her loving husband. I decided that was it. That was it. And I got up and I got back on that horse. And I said,
well, that's your moment there. Like you made that decision.
That was my moment. Now, I'm not going to tell you that I've not had anxiety since then, that I've not had a little bit of depression since then. But little by little, with the help of my oldest daughter, who said, Mom, every time something happens to you, write down what's happening to you. what you're feeling, what you're thinking, so you can identify what your triggers are.
Yeah.
And that has helped me, because right away when something happens, I'm like, okay, calm down, Rachel. And I speak to myself in my brain. I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
As long as I'm not speaking out to somebody else.
Do you know the thing that's so interesting is like it's crazy once you start talking to people how many women, and I'm just going to say around our generation, that empty nesters and that you would see from the outside that though they have it all together, they haven't made it. Like, Rachel, you are so upbeat and you're Zumba, and what we think, we think you've got 6 children and a granddaughter and you've got this amazing husband and where you're living now and you teach Zoom and you're so happy, and it sounds like we want that, wish we could all be as happy as Rachel. But to share, like, how many years ago, 3 years ago, did you say 5 years ago, that you're in this dark place? What I find interesting, because it's when that moment when something shifted and you're like, no, I'm going to get better, whatever. There's this moment, and it is our thoughts. There's nothing else except changing your thoughts. But when you're in the midst of depression, or you're, especially empty nesters, because our purpose is gone. Moms do everything for your children for 20 something years, and then they're gone. Or what is your purpose? Or then your mom, you're not looking after her. You know what I mean? Like, so then you're lost.
That's right.
And it's our thoughts that get us into a dark place. Did you?
Yes, it is mental. Remember when I said I thought it was mental? It is mental, but it's something that we can control if we are given the tools, and if we accept to use those tools, and we accept not to give up. It was very important that I listened to my children, who said, Mom, we can't do without you. And my daughter, who was like 16 at the time, and we're in the car and we're coming home from I don't know where, she turns on the radio and she starts singing. She's like, Mom, sing. I'm like, I don't feel like it. And she stopped and she started bawling, and she's like, Mom, you're just not the same happy-go-lucky person, and I miss it. Can you stop this, Mom?
Aww.
It just really got to me. And I thought, okay, if I don't do this for myself, I've got to do it for my children. But then eventually I am doing it for myself, because you have to start with you. You have to with you. And so then I became a Zumba instructor. And then, of course, there's the pandemic. But guess what? That was just the springboard for me, because then I started doing live on Facebook and started getting followers from Latin America, all over the world. And now I have friends from all over the world, like you do. And then when you started doing your interviews, then I started doing interviews. But it was about how Zumba was benefiting them. It was a different spin, but it was the same platform of service, of compassion, of how are you dealing with the pandemic? So you inspired me. I'm inspiring others. I hope that they, continue that line, that chain, and inspire others as well. And so that is why I support your page so much.
Oh, thank you so much, Rachel. I just hope, and I hope that anyone that watches this and if someone is watching and they are feeling in that dark place, there's a quote by Oprah Winfrey. She always says there's a gratitude is like a flashlight in a dark forest.
Yeah.
And I think about my moment back when I was struggling, when I could somehow find something to be grateful for. It was like it pulled me out of a dark place, because even though I felt like I lost a lot with my kids have moved out and you feel like you don't have a purpose, sometimes the joy is just right in front of you. But there's something, but I don't know if you found this, but I find that we all have joy in us. We're full of joy. It just gets blocked by our thoughts. We get these heavy thoughts about, maybe I'm a burden, or we start saying the I am this, I am that, and where if we can let go of that, there's room for joy to come up, and switching the way we talk to ourselves to force, like, I am important. I am amazing. I do have purpose. I can make a difference in the world. Switch the negative and say, I'm grateful. Like me, now I wake up like, I'm grateful for this new day. I'm grateful today. Thank you for every step I take. And do you have a strong morning routine that helps you in the morning?
Well, I get up and I thank God for everything that I have. and I ask him to help me be happy, to be anxiety free, and to be able to help others. And so and I look in the mirror and I think, you're 52, but how do you feel? Do you feel 32? Let's go with it. You know,
Yeah.
and you've got to have the positive overtake the negative, as you were saying, because I was succumbing to that darkness and I was allowing it. I was allowing my phobias and my stress to overtake me. But let me read you something really fast. I'm a poet. Didn't know
Yeah,
it
read it. I'd love you to.
for many years. It's an inexplicable feeling of hope. The day may be dark as night. The pain may be untellingly unbearable. The loss may be seemingly unreturnable. The sin may be painfully unforgiving. The solitude and fear unrevering. Confusion of purpose inexplicable. Self worth lacking. Deep scars yet to be healed from trauma. And yet, somehow, I have an indescribable feeling of hope and peace. This is me. I'm describing me. But if you can identify, how, may you ask? These are just a few of what drives me and helps me not to lose my way. There's a little voice inside my head that cheers me on and guides my every footstep. There's a warm sensation in my chest that fills my heart with strength. There's a ray of sunlight that steals through on a cloudy day. There's a pat on the back from a friend, a long embrace from a loved one, a tender and sweet child's prayer, a song sung by a warbling, a refreshing breeze on summer's night, a Christmas tree decorated with homemade trimmings, a family reunion that mends old wounds, the miracle of birth, and I love you no matter what, or you can do it from a supportive spouse, the sound of rustling brook, a beautiful sunset or sunrise, an uplifting word or counsel for someone wiser, a smile from a kind stranger who crosses your path, and life itself in any and every way expressed or depicted are what gives me hope and peace among the hardest times and saddest moments.
Wow. Did you write that yourself?
Hmm.
That's your own poem that you just,
Those
wow.
are my those are my words, those are my feelings. And then I ask the question, what makes you happy? What gives you peace? What helps you to go on? Because for everybody it can be different. But I think that I express some of the things that are very general. Nature, you and I also identify with that. Nature just makes us feel so peaceful and so in tune with
Yeah.
with God, with whatever religion we practice and we follow. And we just have to find ourselves. We have to find ourselves and be okay with ourselves, and then we're going to be okay.
Yeah, we have to love ourselves. I'm a morning person. I need to get up and just like, because I used to be in a dark place in the morning, I now am like very like gratitude, affirmations. Like I just start so powerful. So every day is like, thank you for this day, and I have to really drill into my head so that becomes a habit that you think. You want to create a habit of thinking good thoughts about yourself instead of the negative. And it's like you say, it's a tool so people can take change into positive thinking. If you have a negative thought like, oh, I'm not good enough, you switch it to I am good enough, or oh, I'm not important, I am important. So the affirmations and positive thinking just to get yourself out of it. Can you share that poem in the
Sure.
compassion project? Can you post that? I would love that to be up there. So I just want to thank you so much for sharing that moment. It's super impactful. I know so many women and men that do struggle, and it's to share it, to know that you can come out of it. And you are doing so many amazing things for the world, Rachel. You are like a bright light. Like you're a bright light. I absolutely adore you. Thank
Thank,
you.
thank you, Jane. When I feel like I'm not doing enough, somebody sends me a message from my Facebook page, which it's called Rachel's Fun Zumba, but it's so many other things. It's so many other things. And some lady will send me and say, you're an inspiration to me, or they'll ask me for counsel, and I'm just like, well, I can
Mhm.
give you my advice, but I'm not a professional. But it makes me feel good. It makes me feel wanted. It makes me feel needed, and we all need that. And
Yeah.
what worked for me also, Jane, is to be more vulnerable, is to be an open book. Because when I would hide what was happening to me, no one knew. And if no one is there to be empathetic and to see how they can help you. So if you open up to a certain point, then those people will know that they're not alone going through what they're going through. And that if you can get through it, or you're able to deal with it, because we're just dealing with it, Jane. We're not cured. You know,
Yeah.
we're not free. We're not anxiety free. We're not panic attack free. We're not phobia free, but we're learning to live with it and be okay and have the hope that one day it'll be less.
Yeah.
So be vulnerable, be an open book to the point where you feel comfortable, and little by little you'll feel even more comfortable. I mean, look at what you shared to start to kick this off.
Yeah. Well, I think you have to let people know that you are hurting, that you aren't okay, and it's okay to not be okay. Like, it's
Yeah.
okay to not be okay, and to tell someone you're not okay and let them help you. Because sometimes if we say no, we don't want help from anyone, we're actually taking away someone feeling good about helping, because people want to help. So saying, you know, I'm not okay and I do need help, and then you can give back one day. So then I always look at it like, then you can give back and put a helping hand out to someone else. So
Yes.
anyway, I guess we should go. Thank you. I appreciate you. And yeah, thanks anyone for watching, and just reach out. We'll put your contact info in the comments, your Facebook page. People can join your positive group. Okay.
Thank you, Jane. This was
Hey,
your patience, and we did it. We
you
did
did
it.
it. Love you.
Love you too.
Okay, bye everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.